Hey guys, in this video we're going to take a look at a lens. This is the Viltrox 28mm f4.5 autofocus lens for the Sony E-mount camera system. This is an FE or full frame lens. The lens is also available for the FUJI X camera system, which is an APS-C camera system. I'll put links to this lens beneath this video. This lens has a couple of really unique, great selling points. First of all, its price. It only cost 99 bucks. That makes it one of the most affordable lenses that you could find for any camera system. It's a 28mm focal length, so it's a prime lens. You can't zoom with the lens, but 28mm is a wide angle. It's wide enough to take in much of the frame without being a super wide. So it's great for many different photographic situations, especially street photography. And that would especially be true for those of you who have high megapixel cameras, because you can crop in on your subject if you're standing a distance away from your subject. I'm currently here in Bangkok, Thailand, and I've been using the lens for several days, and overall I've been very happy with it. There are a lot of us out there who want full frame image quality, but we don't want full frame camera size. And Viltrox has produced this lens for people with those things in mind. Street photography is kind of like fishing. When you go out to the lake, you never know what you're gonna catch. Street photography is especially fun here in Thailand because the people are so warm and friendly and are usually quite willing subjects. They're quick to greet you with a wave and a smile. Again, if you really look at the lens and its size and weight, it is probably the smallest lens that I have ever owned for any camera system. It weighs only 60 grams. That's just over a couple of ounces, and it's incredibly thin. It almost looks like part of the camera body. It's really not much larger than a body cap. And yet, it has some great features. For example, autofocus. And I've found that with continuous focusing activated on my Sony camera, the autofocus works very well. Now, for such an inexpensive lens, the build quality is surprisingly good. There's a lot of metal used in the construction of this lens, and it does have a metal mount. It also has a built-in lens cap that is activated with a mechanical switch on the lens. This lens even has a USB-C port, and you can deliver firmware updates by Bluetooth. But bear in mind, there is no manual focus mechanism, and there's no way to manually adjust the aperture. Autofocus and f4.5 are what you're gonna get. I need to emphasize, it is a fixed aperture of 4.5. So this kind of limits its utility in low light situations, and you're not going to get a really great background blur or bokeh out of this lens. But if you can accept those limitations, its optical performance is actually very good. The lens is surprisingly sharp and has very little barrel distortion. This makes it really just a great walkabout companion. So overall, I really am very pleased with this lens. First of all, at a price of $99, who can complain? But I wouldn't pay $1 if the optical performance was poor. The optical performance is actually quite good. What about video, you may ask? Well, I haven't shot a lot of video with this lens, but autofocus seems to work pretty well with video. And 28mm is actually a pretty useful walk-around focal length. So yes, this lens is also useful for video in a pinch. So in terms of value for money, you're getting a great little lens. There are shortcomings with this lens, primarily the fixed aperture, and also the fact there are no filter threads on the front of the lens, so you can't use ND filters with the lens even if you want to. The lens does have some vignetting. When this lens is pointed towards light sources, it flares a lot, to the point where you can't really avoid it, so you might as well embrace it. As the saying goes, it is what it is. And if you're looking for a cheap, lightweight, small, sharp, full frame lens with decent autofocus, you're not gonna do any better than this little Viltrox. I think it's actually a no-brainer purchase. If you're into travel and travel photography and you have either a Sony E-mount camera or a Fuji X camera, then I wouldn't hesitate to recommend this $99 bargain lens. I think it's one of the most innovative lens designs that I've seen in a long time, and I would really like to encourage Viltrox to keep on producing pancake lenses. I would love to have, for example, a pancake 50 millimeter or 40 millimeter for the street. So that's it, guys. A quick look at the Viltrox 28 millimeter f4.5 lens for the Sony E-mount camera system. I highly recommend this lens, and again, I will put a link to the lens on the Sony system and also the Fuji system if you're a Fuji X shooter beneath this video. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been yet another episode of this channel that has become something of a global adventure club. Until next time, this has been Sean Michael, encouraging you guys to get out there. See you in the next video. In fact, this lens even has its own nickname. The company calls it Chip. I don't know why they call it Chip. Maybe because it's the size of a potato chip.